Namaste and welcome to the 10th series of Yoga Charcha. This is a discussion on yoga, a series of interactions with experts. We are honored today to have Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi from the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Indian Consulate General in Durban, South Africa. We're honored to have you. Welcome, sir. We also welcome Mr. Kamal, who is the CEO of Vishwa Shakti, as well as an educator. And he's also happens to be the founder of Vishwa Shakti. Welcome to Ms.Kerry White, who is a yoga teacher at Gurukat, as well as hot yoga, and she's based in Ashtangasana. Welcome to Ms. Paula Martini, who is a yoga practitioner. And we also have Mr. Sihire Mchuno, who is from the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban. And on the technical side, welcome to Mr. Sashil Mano, who actually assists us with everything done. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. And let's start with the welcome remarks by Mr. Kamal Araj of Vishwa Shakti.
Namaste, everyone. Pranam to everyone. Yoga originated, thousands of years ago as a source of spiritual development. But these days, we tend to use it more as a form of exercise. Sometimes some of the other limbs of yoga are excluded, but it is best to use the yoga as it was intended, with its full focus. And, today it is generally definitely an honor to have Ms.Kerry White with us, who is going to be taking us through hot yoga. And, this seems to be an in thing. Exercise, yoga is known for helping one get lean muscles, one to get a little more focus in life, one is able to de-stress. In fact, let me take this a little further. Hot yoga will improves flexibility, burns more calories, builds bone density, reduces stress, because remember, we are perspiring and burning out those toxins which accumulate as we travel through life, eases depression. So yoga postures that are practiced in a room with a temperature of 105 degrees Fahrenheit, or where the humidity is level of, at least 40%, or in terms of South African, 35 degrees Celsius or even more. And it is a well-known fact that where in summer you tend to want to do more exercise, especially in the mornings or the evenings, because it's easier, your body seems to be more flexible. In winter, most people tend to shy away, because that's when our muscles tend to get a little stiff. But in summer, for somehow or the other, it relaxes. And that is why hot yoga gives us an edge. Of course, we can introduce ourselves to the level of heat and lift that as we go through and get more experience, and allow our body to get used to the heat. And today, I would think, as far as flexibility goes, we all know about warm-up. On a cold winter's day, just to start into heavy exercise, there is chances of injury is very high. But if you do warm-up, there is a chances of injury is low. So even with hot yoga, injury seems to be less with the exercise, but more if we feel uncomfortable with the heat. But if we can use that sparingly and introduce our bodies to the heat. As we grow and become used to that, maybe hot yoga will be even better. But let me not go too much into that, because we're going to have our expert, the person who teaches yoga, hot yoga, I would like to re-emphasize. And who better than to explain to us than the hot yoga teacher herself. And Paula Martini, our expert interrogator, interviewer, she's going to take us through and make sure that, you know, the audience gets a chance to find out all that they need for hot yoga. By the way, you know, sometime or the other, when you get a chance to visit the Tongat Yoga Studio that is here at the Jagannath Puri Temple, we are planning to introduce hot yoga. So maybe we'll need this team to help us through that. Thank you. And
thank you for that, Mr. Kamal Maharaj. And going now to the interaction, we have some really good interaction and conversations between Ms.Kerry White, and she is the yoga teacher of Guru Kat with regards to hot yoga in Ashtanga, and Ms. Paula Martini, who is a yoga practitioner. Over to you, ladies.
Thank you so much. Such a lovely introduction, and I always so look forward to these conversations and meeting new yoga instructors, and not only that, but actual people who are have a different outlook on just yoga as a normal practice. So thank you so much, Kerry, for agreeing to chat with us today. And I'd like to start off by asking you how you understand and define yoga.
To me, yoga is the practice of stilling the mind. And practically for me, that is working on two aspects, and that is practicing my yoga and what that means to me, and practicing the aspect of non-attachment to the outcomes of those things and of the practice itself. And that's it. It's a lot in there, but that's it in a nutshell.
Fantastic. And how did you get connected with yoga?
I started yoga just after I graduated from university, and I was living in a small town in the United States, and I was by myself, and I was just interested at that point in, I'd heard about yoga. I was interested in doing some stretching, doing something in the community, and that was where I first joined. But I joined a really interesting type of yoga called Bini Yoga, where you share at the beginning of the class what you're working on at the moment, and the teacher will tailor the class to you. And so it was mostly people a lot older than me, and it really introduced me to a more spiritual aspect of yoga right from the start.
Oh, wow, incredible. And do you feel any difference in your daily life due to your practice of yoga?
Yes, it's not really a difference. It's more I'm a completely changed person in every aspect of my being.
Okay. And do you have any specific style or school of yoga?
So I started out, as I said, with Bini Yoga, which was a great way to start. And then when I returned to South Africa, I started practicing hot yoga. The studio that was near me practiced hot yoga, and so I got introduced to that, and specifically to the Bikram style of yoga, and as well as Hatha. And then I started to teach that some years ago to help the teacher that ran the studio there. And over the years, though, my practice has evolved quite a lot. So now I practice really slow meditative forms of yoga called yin yoga and restorative yoga. And so my practice has gone from being really focused on asana and on being fit and strong and using yoga for strength and for de-stressing and stretching more on an inward journey over time. And so my teaching has followed that too. And so what I really enjoy to teach now are those really meditative, healing, slow forms of yoga.
Amazing. Connecting to self.
Exactly.
Do you feel that yoga is not only a physical exercise or a scheduled activity, but is an integrated approach and understanding to life in its entirety?
Absolutely. For me, yoga is a science of understanding the mind and understanding the self and transcending the mind. And I believe that asana itself, it's just one aspect of yoga. And even that is a lot deeper than we understand in the modern sense, in that each posture or each shape doesn't only work on the body and on the muscles and on all the aspects of the body, but it works on the various aspects of self, on mind, on emotion, and even beyond that into the spirit and that which cannot be named. And that's just one aspect of it. But then when we go into it, there's so many aspects of the practice of yoga. I do, however, believe that they can be contained into just that aspect of what I said of practicing yoga. And that's largely meditation and then releasing any attachment to the outcomes of it itself.
Amazing, lovely explanation. And do you feel that yoga is an art and science which gives us a sense of affinity and connectedness to the entire universe?
Absolutely do. And it's experientially so. It's hard to explain to people with words how that works. And but if you practice and you continue to practice, you start to experience that, and in a really tangible way. And that's the part that will really change your life, in that you take what you learn on the mat, and when you practice your asana, when you practice your meditation, your pranayama, and you take that out into the other aspects of your life. And then we can start to really appreciate and open our hearts to everybody around us. And I really believe that yoga is such a beautiful way to begin to do that, to break down these walls that we put around ourselves, and to really come to a state of open-hearted, loving kindness for everybody around us.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think it's just, it is, like you say, you can't explain it. I'm finding myself at that specific moment where you literally just don't have words, because it's just, your life definitely is never the same. I think when you have interacted or just begun it and pushed through and gotten over all the hurdles, you're never the same, which is the beauty of it.
And it continues to be that way, I find. You know, when I first started, and it felt so good to really come into the body and start to acknowledge it and to work through yoga asana and to breathe, and that opens up a whole different way of being. But the more you practice yoga, and the deeper you go into the practice, the more it reveals itself over and over again to do that. And so you feel that, you know, sometimes feels like you know, getting there, but it's a continual path, and it's just a beautiful one that has so much depth. You know?
Absolutely. And I think as a teacher for like yourself, to watch that transformation in people is quite something special. And
it's very rewarding, and it's a role that feels so large. You know, it feels like you know, when you guys refer to me as an expert in yoga, it feels that can hardly be so. You know, I've been practicing it for many, many years and teaching for many years, but it's just such a large and beautiful science and art. And it feels like such a large job to hand that over to other people. And I think it needs to be treated with a lot of reverence, you know.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And do you feel that yoga represents universal energy or universal love and compassion?
Yes, I think that that's the ultimate, you know, I wouldn't say goal, but that's the place that you arrive at. The more that you practice, and the more that you can surrender into the practice itself. And as I said, it's something that you actually start to feel and to know, and it's hard to describe that in words, but it's something that starts to permeate all of your life.
Amazing. And would you kindly suggest some simple asanas for our viewers and audience this evening?
Yeah, so For me, I think that it's really it's difficult to suggest just one set. It really depends on where you are. So really important to establish where you are at this stage in your life and what you would need that would be nurturing for you, and what you would need that would help you to be able to start to come home to yourself and to come home to your own heart and to start to acknowledge yourself where you are and accept yourself where you are. And so for some of us, that may mean, you know, it's time for us to start to be more energetic, to start to get out there and push ourselves and our boundaries. Maybe we've become lethargic in our lives and we start to just accept things as without exploring, without being open. And so maybe it requires that you need to do something very active and to start to strengthen your body. And in that way, you start to build up the strength to meditate for longer and to do the other things that are really where we're headed. And then for others, people that like to be active, competitive, in all the other aspects of life, it may be more of a challenge for them, but for them, really, they need to start to consider doing really slow and meditative forms of yoga so that they can stop the busyness that they're creating in order to not really be with themselves and to come into those forms of yoga, breath work, and meditation. I would suggest that everybody starts with Pranayama, which is the practice of breath control. It also, however, is not breath control, but control of the prana in the body, which is the energy. This can be achieved through the control of the breath. So we're not doing breath exercises, you know, that's for scuba divers. Pranayama is getting to know the body intimately and to start to feel the prana that runs through your body. So we can all actually feel energy inside our body once we start to really slow down and we can work through pranayama. So I think that everybody should start practice with that and work into asana. And there's a variety of pranayama that you can practice as a beginner. And one of the ones that's really nice is to just practice a 4-part breath that you breathe in for a count of perhaps 4. You hold the breath for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then hold the breath out for a count of 4. And you just repeat through that process. Over time, you can perhaps increase the counts in multiples of 2, and you can start to increase your breath over time. And that's just a really good way of coming into the body. It can be something that you can practice during the day at your desk when you feel pressured, when life is difficult for you in any way, is just to learn to come to our breath. And some people find initially it kind of seems a bit boring to focus on the breath, but it's such a beautiful anchor into the present moment, into this time. And it really helps to calm the nervous system to do that kind of breath. And then also just simple movement. If you would like to practice at home, it doesn't have to be a complicated yoga posture. You have your leg up behind your head or anything like that. It's just starting to create movement into your body, you know, so working through the extremities, through your fingers and your wrists and your ankles, maybe coming into a gentle forward fold and really feeling into your spine. So the whole thing is about starting to allow your body to determine where you should be working, to understand that, you know, I have sore shoulders, so bring movement into the shoulders. Are you hunching them? Can you start to open up the chest and the heart? Do you have pain in the neck? Maybe every morning you should start to just move into your neck and create movement there. And then over time, you can start to really work into more complex asana.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for some wonderful feedback and discussion. It was great. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, ladies. I thoroughly enjoyed that session. It was very enlightening and gave me a new perspective altogether. I'm learning every day, so I do appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go now and have a demonstration of a few yoga asanas by Kerry White. All right, Kerry, you're going to teach us a couple yoga asanas. I'm ready for this. Show us how it is done.
So today we're going to practice a very classic sequence of asanas called Surya Namaskar, which is salutations to the sun. And this is such a great combination of postures in that it can be a full spiritual practice or sadhana on its own, because this flow of practice and this flow of asanas can be fully toning for the body and also prepare us spiritually. And when we practice these postures, it's not only each asana that we're working on, but also the flow and the rhythm as we move through them. So really taking care and paying special attention to the flow through the asana. I'm going to practice the form that I practice, and there you will find many variations of this as you practice at different places. So to begin to prepare for Surya Namaskar, just come to stand with both feet on the ground and bring your hands together in prayer in front of your heart. Just allow your eyes to close and bring your attention into the soles of your feet, ensuring that both feet equally resting on the ground, that your shoulders are relaxed away from your ears. And allow your awareness and your attention to rest on your breath. Really connect through the soles of your feet into the ground. And start to build awareness of the whole body from the inside out. Awareness of breath. An awareness of connection between you and the earth. And finally, allow your attention to rest in the space between your eyebrows. And imagine that the sun is rising up in front of you. You begin at the top edge of your mat and inhale, raise your arms up overhead. Exhale and fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, step your right foot back, knee to the ground and tuck your toes. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, Anjaneyasana. Exhale and sink. Draw your hands down on either side of your feet. Bring your left foot to right into plank. Come forward onto your toes, drop your knees, your chest and your chin. Inhale, untuck your toes and lift your heart. Exhale, tuck your toes under, press back into downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg up. And exhale, step it forward between your hands. Drop your left knee. Inhale, raise your arms up overhead. And exhale, hands on either side of your foot. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands at heart in Namaskar. Inhale, raise your arms up overhead. Exhale and fold. Inhale to halfway lift, moving with that rhythm. Exhale, fold, hands down, left foot back, knee to the ground and tuck your toes. Inhale, reaching your arms up, sink your hips. Exhale, hands come down, tuck your back toes. Stepping into plank as you hold the breath in. Exhale, knees, chest and chin. Inhale, raising up your heart and tuck your toes. Exhale, tuck the toes, press back into a downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your left leg up. Step it forward between your hands, drop your knee and tuck your toes. Inhale and reach. Exhale, hands down on either side of that front foot. Inhale, feet together, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. And draw your hands together in prayer in front of your heart. Namaskar. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale and fold. Inhale to halfway. Exhale, hands down, right foot back, knee to the ground. Inhale and reach, moving with rhythm, moving with breath. Exhale, hands down. Tuck your toes under into plank. Exhale, knees come down, chest and chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, step it forward and tuck the toes. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, left foot to right, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way back up, reach up overhead. Exhale, draw your hands together at your heart. Inhale, reach as we go to the left. Exhale and fold. Moving with care, with grace. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands down, right foot, left foot back, knee to the ground, and tuck your toes. Inhale, Anjaneyasana, hips sink down. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Tuck your toes, stepping back into plank. Exhale, knees, chest and chin to the ground. Inhale, lift your heart and untuck your toes. Exhale, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step it forward between your hands and tuck your toes. Inhale and reach. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, reach up and exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Arms come up overhead. And exhale, Namaskar. So I'll demonstrate now just a little bit of an advancement as you move in through those asanas, how you can move a little bit deeper, become a little bit more challenging. Inhale, raising arms up overhead. Exhale and fold. Inhale to halfway. And exhale, right foot comes back, knee to the ground, and tuck your toes. Inhale, raising your arms up overhead. And exhale, releasing down. Tuck your toes under, stepping back into plank. This time rolling forward onto your toes, allowing your elbows to tuck in and coming down in one straight line, the body never going below the elbows. And then rolling forward over onto the tops of your feet, open your chest and heart. Exhale, rolling over your toes and coming back into downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg up. Step it forward between your hands. Both feet come to touch halfway. And exhale and fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. And hands return to your heart. We complete that on the last side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, left foot comes back. Drop your knee and tuck your toes. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands down. Tuck your left toes, stepping back into plank. Come forward onto the toes and gently tuck your elbows in, coming down with control. Rolling over the toes, coming into upward facing dog. And over the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg up. Step it forward. Both feet come to touch in a halfway lift. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale all the way up to the top. And exhale, hands at heart center. Connecting once again through your feet. Feeling the body from the inside. And recognizing the energy, the warmth, and the life-giving heat of the sun. Namaste.
Thank you, Kerry. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Something new for me to try, most definitely. And now we've come to the end of our program. So we have Mr. Sifiwe Mshuno, who's going to give the vote of thanks.
On behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Devon, I am honored today to deliver a vote of thanks on our 10th episode of the program, Charcha. This is a series of interaction with experts on yoga. Allow me to thank Ms.Kerry White, a yoga teacher at Guru Ket Hot Yoga in Umhlanga, Durban, and also Ms. Paula Martini G, a yoga expert. To these wonderful ladies, Danyavat, thank you very much for joining us this evening. To Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban. Mr. Sashil Mana, Sri Kamal Maharaj Ji, thank you very much for taking part on today's program. To all our online participants who took part on today's program, we'd like to say Danyavat for being with us this evening. You are kindly advised to visit ICCR in Durban Facebook page for more cultural activities organized by Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in Durban. Once again, to our online guest, Kerry White. Thank you, ma'am. Paula Martini Ji. Thank you, ma'am. To all of you, have a wonderful evening. Namaskar.